Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. Show number 144, one Reggie Jackson. Hence, I'm wearing the Reggie Jackson jersey today instead of my football wear. But of course, we all know why I'm completely not wearing football gear anymore. That's because the New York Football Giants have faded into the turf of the Superdome in New Orleans. But this is show number 144, coming to you live from downtown Mawa. Of course, behind the glass, your friend and mine, Dave Sturchio, still wearing his cowboy hat. God love him. Coming from downtown Matawan, from the Chop Sports Studio Mecca of the podcast world. Dave, what's going on this morning?
It took a couple days to digest the embarrassment that was the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, but right before the game, Cowboys clinched the playoff spot via an Atlanta Falcons win. So not the way you want to get in, obviously. You know what's funny?
I mean, you can't do that to me. Playoff spot. You clinched the playoff spot on September 22nd.
Yeah,
okay, so
but
I'll tell you,
officially the Cowboys are in the playoffs. So
officially the Giants haven't been eliminated. So, by the way, this is the word of the wise, because eventually the Cowboys are going to suck. Like every team goes through it. It's amazing how you don't get eliminated. Like, even when you completely suck, right? You don't get eliminated until Christmas Eve.
Right.
The fact that the Giants are like,
you along, man.
As a matter of fact, if the Giants beat the Eagles and a couple of games go away, it's like, well, you know what? Hey, it's like, meanwhile, they're 5-35. It's just funny. Those games in September, they matter here at Jay. Those overtime losses, those drop passes in the end zone. That's
I mean, look, the Cowboys would be in the division lead by themselves had they not lost to Arizona in week 3. Yeah, you know what I mean? So those games count.
But we're going to get to the NFL stuff and the Cowboys enigma. Even though I'm not a Cowboy fan, I still don't know why they don't win every game. But now I have here my baseball card in front of me. Now, this is the ultimate shitty one, in that this is not what the segment's all about, but it came up and I was gonna tuck it underneath, and I said no. I've had some players that no one heard of, including their own family members, don't even know their uncle played ball. So I figured this one came up, I have to do it. You could probably guess it's the ultimate baseball card player of all time.
Babe Ruth?
Yeah. So here it is. Babe Ruth.
Well, there
places in history. Ruthie is now. Listen. By the way, there's stats on the back of the card that are no longer, because this card is from 1992 and steroids and all that stuff. But there is some funny stuff about. First of all, I've read 2 of the major books on Babe Ruth, and if you're a fan of baseball, the current one that just came out about a year ago. If you're a reader of baseball biographies, and I am, I've read about 20 of them. I've read 2 on Babe Ruth. Anybody who says that he's not the best player of all time, I know, different era, but we live in it's based on statistics. It's just, first of all, he's first in slugging percentage. I'm going to do the modern asshole people. Ready? Mm-hmm. First in slugging percentage, which the average fan doesn't care about. He's first in OPS with 1.164. I don't know what that means, but he's number 1. He's first in OPS plus at 206. Oh. Don't know what that means. Nobody cares. He's second on base percentage at 474. He's second at bats per home run at 11.76.
This is all time?
Yeah, he's third in RBIs, third in home runs. Okay, so there's a couple things that are funny to me. His lifetime batting average, okay. Now, this is for the asshole fan, and I have tons of fans like this. Babe Ruth, whatever, great player. Really break it down. It's comical to me. And I'm not even we could do a 3-hour show just on Babe Ruth stats alone. Mm-hmm. Number 1, his lifetime batting average was 342. Hey, Ohtani, how you doing today? He has 714 home runs. Ohtani would have to play another 25 years to do that. He has 2,200 RBIs, and it's, like I said, 690 slugging percentage. 2,800 hits, 2,873. He was 6'2". He played for 3 teams, Boston, Yankees, and the Boston Braves the last year. He hit over 50 home runs 4 times. I find that funny. He hit over 40 home runs 11 times. That's another one of those.
You gotta keep hitting home runs to get to 5, whatever the fuck he finished with, 515.
714.
714, okay. Sorry.
And now others, again, I know the different errors, the no relief pitching. I get it all, but baseball, the beauty of baseball, it's statistics driven. That's why they don't want to mess with the amount of games and all that shit.
Right.
He never struck out more than 100 times. Stanton and Judge have done that in April 4 times. Okay. Now, I love shit like this. In 19, if this was his free agent year, his walkaway year, he batted 393, 130 RBIs, 41 home runs. Like that,
he'd hover around a billion and two.
I'm guessing that the Dodgers, Yankees, and Red Sox and Mets would be interesting in this young fella. He was also a good fielder, and he was known. Okay, a few things I read online. He was also the team's best bunter. Which, like, what?
Wait,
I swear to God, it was all over the place. He did. He had a good arm. He got.
I'm well aware, but like, what manager in their right mind was like, listen. Hey, George, George, listen, George, I need you to lay one down. And
okay.
It's like, what?
You say that, but back then there was the Ty Cobb, old school McGraw, the other manager. They believed in all the no home run. They thought home runs weren't cool.
Small ball.
And so the fans were like, no, we just want to hit bomb. It's still that way today. He won the World Series 7 times. Here's a weird thing. He won 4 with the Yankees. Now, this is something that really I always try to equate. Again, it was more than 105 years ago. But I don't know, Dave, if you really know. I know you know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it, and you're going to go like, oh, my God. The Red Sox, remember 1918? They finally won it. Okay. Well, did you know, and I knew this, but I don't know if you did, the Red Sox won the World Series in 1916, 1917, and 1918. Did you know that?
Yes. And, how I know that? You know how I know that? The movie's Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Because they're talking about it, and then
the fact that Jimmy Fallon's giving you baseball knowledge makes me sick. But
I'm just saying it's part of the movie. I don't know what
here's another thing. Their best player by far, because he pitched and he bat. He was the Ohtani of the era. And they got rid of him for $100,000 cash. Now that's a lot of money in 1918. But they literally, think about that. You win 3 in a row and you sell him. And anyway, in the World Series, he batted 326 with 15 home runs over the years. So he wasn't the guy like, well, you get him in the World Series, that's when you can get him. He batted 326. He had an ERA with Boston as a pitcher of 2.19. Okay, his record as a pitcher was 89-46. So again, I don't want to hear the relief pitcher. Pat Volckermer thinks that Babe Ruth is like 5th in best player of all time. He's out of his mind. He hit more home runs in 1927 than teams did combined. Okay, now, I don't know what that means. All I know is I can only say if someone says you made $2 a year in 1918, it's like making $50,000 today, right? Well, if you hit more home runs than entire teams do, they're batting against the same shitty pitching. How does that work? The Yankees designed their stadium for them. They built a huge stadium because fans started to go. Got to remember, no TV, obviously no internet. It was a word of mouth. Babe Ruth was bigger than life. The fact that he was number 2 to Michael Jordan in 1999 is the most egregious thing. What did the guy from Florida State run this poll? It makes no sense because he was bigger. You got to remember, New York had 17 daily newspapers back then. You realize that?
Yeah.
He was. They followed him. They hounded him. They didn't print all the good stuff. You would get. And by the way, when Babe Ruth got laid, the reporters got laid. So anybody who reports that Babe Ruth was a jerk off right now should be like, if you're a reporter in 1918, you were probably making 6 cents a year. Okay.
Well, did you ever see the Babe with?
I saw him with it was an awful one with
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah.
John Goodman. Listen, that movie portrayed him to be a little bit of a prick. He
had an ego and all that stuff. But the bottom line is,
it's so funny.
Are you going to report that he had 4 whores and 27 drinks when he got you one of the whores that you'd have to pay for? I don't understand.
My dad and me to this day, I don't know why, but there's one part of that movie. It's like one line where he's talking to some girl, and he just says it in this tone. He's like, I'm Babe Ruth. I'm Babe Ruth. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm Babe fucking Ruth. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's no
to me,
here.
it's statistically, And plus, you want to get into the other like social and cultural things. Change the game. He made the game. Came off the scandal from the Black Sox. He drew crowds in. First of all, he used to go to Japan in the early 30s. Like when Japan was like nobody knew what Japan
Hogan?
was.
Was he Hulk Hogan,
He
bro?
was
Just
all
going
over the
across.
place. He was all over the place. But here's a couple of funny things that I giggle at with Babe Ruth. In 1935, he played with the Boston Braves. And everything I read, he was grossly overweight, physically couldn't play the field anymore. Like he had to play some first base. He was a fat bastard. Okay.
So a 2023 version of Jimmy Palumbo.
Exactly right. It's Jimmy Palumbo playing softball, right? No, aging Johnny Trino here.
Right.
But the funny thing is one of his last games, okay, he was 4 for 4 and he hit he hit 3 home runs in a game, being obese and a mess and so on. And all he wanted to do was manage. And at the time, all the Hall of Famers all got offers to manage, but him. But I got to say it, if I was talking to Babe Ruth right now, I'd say, Babe, I know you wanted to manage, but you missed games because you were drunk, hungover, you ate like
My kind of guy. It's like Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own.
So why would an owner go, you know what? Let's get Ruth in here to manage because you're not hitting home runs. You're done. Like It's just the way. But anyway, if you some of the books, especially the one that a woman wrote, the last one, and it's
I can't imagine that being any good.
Oh no, it's by that the
just
author,
diminishing this dude.
She's a badass. She really did the research on it.
Well, who that's another question. Who's writing books about Babe Ruth in 2023?
And it was a bestseller.
But what new information can you get now?
Well, they really I guess with the internet and newspaper archives, they really dug deep. And he has a weird beginning. He was kind of adopted. Nobody knows the whole 9 yards. There was rumors that he was half black. There's all kinds of stuff on Babe Ruth. It's incredible. And he did marry someone named Claire, I think her name was. And
do you have kids?
No, never had natural kids, but he had a couple adopted kids. And one of them is still, maybe he did have a kid, I forget. But they lived on the Upper West Side. Matter of fact, he lived in a building now that doesn't look so great, but it's like 6 stories high, and he had the whole top floor, so it's pretty big. And there's a little plaque outside the thing. I remember walking to an audition. I was like, holy shit, that's where Babe Ruth lived the last 15 years of his life. But his wife was a real ball breaker and really aggressive with ads. And Babe Ruth, another. Okay, this is like if I was sitting down with Babe Ruth, LeBron, and Michael Jordan, I'd be like, "Hey, Michael Jordan, just want to let you know, the first sports agent, Babe Ruth had it. Like it's like it's like the Lawrence Taylor thing. The position didn't exist until he created it. So like, hey Jordan, he had to have an agent because so many people were asking him to do so much crap. It's just amazing. They said some teams didn't like her because she was like aggressive. But the best story of all time with Babe Ruth has to do with Lou Gehrig. They had a little feud there because Gehrig started to hit bombs all over the place. And he was that's another player, only played 13 years or 14. Look at his stats. They're crazy. But they went on a ship to Japan. And they say the rift started. Let's not get, everybody's dead now, so we can talk about this. Mrs. Lou Gehrig was a little bit of a society girl. In other words, she was out and about, didn't get married at 22. She was out and about. And Babe Ruth was a society guy. He was out and about, and Babe Ruth and her ran in similar circles. So a lot of people thought, like they say, Babe Ruth slept with anything that moved, and so they ran in the same circle. That's all they say.
He laid the big stick. Is that
okay? We're not sure. We don't know about that. But on this ship on the way to Japan, Mrs. Lou Eleanor, God rest her soul, was hanging out in. Now Babe Ruth, they said, had a cabin that was the size of the ship on his way over. She was having drinks with Babe Ruth over, like hanging out on the ship at one point because back then that voyage it must have took 9 months to get there, right? And Babe Ruth couldn't find his wife. He thought maybe she fell overboard. They had the captain search every room, but the only room they didn't search was Babe Ruth's. And then when she found out she was having cocktails with Claire Ruth, Eleanor Ruth, and the Babe. Okay, I'm just saying, getting involved here on a Japan trip from the Omni.
Wow.
On the way. And then after that, they never spoke. That's the rumor. It's probably not true, but it's a funny story anyway. Bottom line is, I just wrote at the end of my notes here, fucking Babe Ruth, man. He got laid. He hit bombs. He was the most popular name. More people knew who Babe Ruth was than the president. Even Japan soldiers would yell out, screw Babe Ruth, to piss off the American. Like, no one's yelling out in Iraq or in Hamas. No one's yelling out, hey, LeBron sucks. Like, no one's yelling that.
No, they're just making his shoe for him. That's all.
So anyway,
so that'll do it here, folks. In a 15-minute episode of Babe
I know, I'm
Ruth.
sorry. I went long, but I had to because it's Babe Ruth. He deserves the time. It's
Of course.
right. Yeah, Jane Levy, Neil Goldhaber checking in. I'm going to talk about you in a second, Neil. All right, who do you got?
Does it matter at this point?
No, of course it does.
I decided in lieu of you transforming into baseball, I kept the baseball theme. A catcher from the Oakland A's, but he also played for the Indians, the Cubs, the Yankees for a little bit, 85, 86, 87 with the Yankees, went back to the White Sox, back to the A's.
Catcher?
Played for a million years.
Play for the A's and then the Yankees?
Indians, Cubs, Yankees, White Sox, A's.
I totally know who this is.
No, you don't.
He caught on the Winfield years?
I don't
85,
know.
Mattingly, 85, 86?
85, 86 with the Yankees. And he batted 296 and 296, so not a bad hitter either.
It wasn't Rick Cerrone.
No, it was not Rick Cerrone.
Who
it
is
is
that?
starts with an R. It is a Ron Hassey.
Oh, Ron Babe Hassey. How did you not? What are you kidding me? When he got to the Yankees, he hit
I have no idea who the fuck this is.
Oh, my God. First of all, Steve Venditti, this
just
is
drove off the road.
He hit, when he first got to the Yankees, he hit like 5. Neil Goldhaber just drove off the road, too. And when he first got to the Yankees, he hit like 4 home runs in the first 3 games.
His career high was with the Yankees in 85 with 13 home runs.
Right, and he hit 12 of them in the first 12 games. And then they would call him Ron Babe Hassey.
Oh, my God.
Stunk. What a shitty player.
It's kind of how he treated Luke Voigt for a little while.
Yes. Ron Babe Hassey.
Which, speaking of the Yankees, were
isn't
apparently...
that weird? We did Babe Ruth, and then his nickname was Ron Babe Hassey.
That is kind of crazy.
There is some kind of metaphysical thing going on between Sturchio and Palumbo on this stupid show we do here.
But speaking of baseball, real quick, looks like the Yankees are somewhat leaning on favorites to land Yamamoto. So it's between him, it's between the Yankees, the Mets, and the Dodgers. But the Dodgers just ponied up, obviously, and gave fucking Ohtani the world.
But it's all deferred, so there's money there for him.
First of all, that shouldn't be allowed. That should not be allowed because it's like you're going against everything that, like, baseball doesn't have a salary cap for this reason, but they have the luxury tax. But all of a sudden, you can now defer money to the pretty much when you're in a rocking chair, like, pay me now. I understand the Bobby Bonilla thing, but that was $1 million.
I like the concept of it for the player.
For the player, it's great, but it's like
when you start getting into. By the way, the money has to go in escrow. You know that, right?
No.
So if you owe $70 million a year, has to go into an account. I don't care what they give them. It goes in an escrow account, like when you put a deposit.
Can that go down?
It can only go up. You'll gain interest.
Oh, so this is another win-win.
But I think the interest might not go to him. Because where they're going to save money is, as soon as he's done playing, he's going to move to Delaware where there's no taxes, and then he's going to get paid $68 million a year, no taxes. If he lives in L.A.
But, like, don't you think, I don't know, in today's day and age, I understand modern science and people are living longer and all this other shit, but, like, you can also get hit by a bus tomorrow.
But
and, like, for you to defer your money, like, to 10, 20 years down the road, like, I don't know. I just feel like.
I think it's, you know what, man? There's a lot of broke athletes doing the shows at Woodbridge Brewery, waving to the crowd.
By the way, Bernie Williams was there last week. But like,
again, like I said, Bernie should have deferred your money, Bernie.
Yeah, but no, but I don't know. Maybe
I know what you mean. It fucks up
it's like,
it screws up the system.
It's like
I think you should do that within you.
So basically, now you can't. So now the Dodgers can afford Yamamoto because of the fact that they're paying Ohtani nothing.
Right?
It's like, how is that fair?
It doesn't always seem like these Asian players either sign on both coasts. Like St. Louis wins.
No, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Because they can fly home easier.
I guess, but that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, but Yamamoto in the interview, or I guess the meeting with the Dodgers, like, they brought Ohtani. They're like, hey, make a friend. It's like, what?
To me, if the Kansas City Royals signed him, it would be he would lead off. I would bat second. You would bat third. Gucci would bat fifth.
Patrick Mahomes.
Steve Roman would be the sixth hitter, and it would be like, Chop Sports fans.
And then Ron Hassey would come out of retirement and play catcher.
And Ron Babe Hassey. Yeah, I know the money's just incredible, but that's what baseball players are making. All right, so
I hate when they break it down like per second, and then you feel like real worthless.
Well, listen, look at the money that we make here per second on this podcast, which is dangerously going to go over now because we have tons of stuff we didn't cover last week that we're going to cover this week. Right. But we got to get to Patreon. In bigger news, if you go to joerogan.com, they are starting to look at playoff scenarios for Jimmy Palumbo Show because the Jimmy Palumbo Show has added 2 people on Patreon.
Did I not guarantee that last week?
But it's nobody that you know.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I actually lost one. My friend Robin and Shawnee is not, for some reason, not on Patreon, even though she listens.
Robin, wow.
And she still loves me. Robin, if you're listening, you, I guess maybe, you know what? She don't feel like giving $3 a month. I still love her anyway. Old friend of mine. But number 36, Neil Goldhaber, season ticket holder for the Knicks. We could actually say that. And of course, Ramsey's finest, Bob Jones, a civic leader here. He sent me a nice note. He goes, Jimmy, you're always doing stuff for Ramsey. We
here's $3.
And here's $3 a month. God, I love him. No, he's not. He's on a higher tier. Oh. So Bob Jones getting involved, and Bob does a lot of turkey cooking in his driveway with my buddy Dave DeLisi. I believe that's you anyway. I think he does that with you. So I have now 37 patrons. We are on the move here, and Rogan is furious. You know what? I got Joe Rogan to call timeout. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, just one of these 30-second variations.
I also want to give a shout out to Bob Sheehan. He's a Bears fan, and they suck too. So anybody whose team sucks, I have a soft part. So that's it. Patreon. Now we're just, we're ready to shoot Beer League 2, the movie.
Let's do it.
And which brings us to, I got a special note here, chasingmiracles.com. This stuff, these stem cell patches, I'm wearing them right now. My mom wears them. Her friends wear them. It's all the shit your body needs. We've talked about this. They're basically, it's a stem cell thing. It's not like peeing in the cup. There are no needles. It's non-invasive. The whole bit does a lot of cool things. But I also got to give a shout out to Tommy and Donna who run the chasingmiracles.com, and they sell or involved in this stuff. They really believe in it. They think it's to make the whole world a better place and make people healthier. But more importantly, Tommy and Donna, you always send me a nice Christmas card. You've been a fan of mine, a friend of mine for years, but also a true fan. They watch my movies. They go see. They text me when stuff is on. They're a couple years older than me, and they're just
losers.
Like, no. Tommy and no, I get you. Yeah, why are you following me? I should say that. Yeah, Tommy's laughing right now because he probably would say that. Tommy actually played football at Rutgers 100 years ago. Donna was an agent who believed in me and Deej way back in the day. She just always believed in me, still does, supports the show. And now she's involved with chasingmiracles.com down in Florida with these stem cell patches. Please check them out. This stuff works. My mother uses them every day. It helps her knee greatly. So a big shout out, chasingmiracles.com, sponsor the show, and especially Donnie and Tommy getting involved here. Now, we've been busting balls. Last week, I didn't talk about it. On a serious note here, on a very special Jimmy Palumbo Show.
In a world.
Listen, my daughter, last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, I get a phone call, and Dave, this is one of those phone calls that like the lady from the dance place calls me up and says, Jimmy, it's so-and-so from the King Center, and your daughter hurt her knee. And I'm like, all right. I'm thinking she banged it on the floor or something like that. And she's like, we don't know whether to call 911. And I'm like, 911? Like, daughter, sprained it, I thought it was the Knicks want to talk it over, and now you're talking 911. So at first I said, all right, I'm on my way. It's about 25-minute ride. So I quickly throw my sneakers on. I was out of the house in 40 seconds. And then I realized as I'm getting in my car, I called Natalie's mother, and I was like, hey, she goes, I just got the call. I'm like, they got to call 911. What am I going to do when I get there? Like, to tell jokes to the knee, I did the high knee joke. Of course I did that. And I rushed down there. Let me tell you, her kneecap separated. It was gruesome looking. She was really in pain. There is nothing. I remember my mother telling me, when you see your kids, whether it's in pain mentally or physically, but physically, you can't do anything. Like Dave, you have 2 little guys, and it's like, but you got to, like, you can't panic. I was like calm as can be. And I'm trying to get through it now. What I'm about to tell, if I get people busting my balls on this, because I told Dave briefly what happened. And so when I got there, they were working on her, and they were putting her in this like strapping her, getting her knee, leg, tied together so they could transport her to the ambulance, get her to the hospital, that stuff. And she was in a lot of pain, crying the whole bit. And I just sat next to her, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But this guy is strapping her knee to this board, okay? And I noticed he was like really fidgety, and he looked like he was nervous. He was sweating. He kept on like leaning back to stretch. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, stabilized. Thanks, Darryl. And so Darryl Clark chiming in here, Shay. And I'm looking at this guy. It turns out the poor guy, and I feel terrible for him. He had like Parkinson's. But the thing was, he was doing an intricate thing on my daughter's knee, and yet, like, he couldn't physically do it. And I'm like, I'm looking, what are you going to say? Like, dude, get the, let me do it. Like, I felt so bad for the guy. But meanwhile, I'm thinking, like, if you're blind, you can't drive. If you get both legs amputated, it's not like, oh, I'm running a marathon next week. Like, certain things you can't do anymore, So then we had to go down the stairs, and thank God the cop was there. It was just a nightmare. Then we get inside the ambulance. Now, I don't want me to make fun of Parkinson's at all, but it was really frustrating. This guy was a nice guy. He was calm with Natalie, but he physically had trouble doing it, and it was frustrating for me. Someday maybe I'll make a joke about it, but there's nothing funny about Parkinson's, so you can't really even make a joke about it. But when it's your kid and he's in the ambulance bouncing off against the cabinets, and you're like, this is nuts. Who should I call it? But I couldn't. I was going to call the town and all that. But I said, you know what? He was so kind and so sweet. And so I just let it go. But meanwhile,
God bless you.
Oh, you would have forget
the fucking ambulance.
This would have been like the Cowboys losing a doubleheader. Which I think they should play in football. No, and that's another story. And the Giants are in the nightcap here. But so we get to the ambulance. But the weird thing was the doctor in the emergency room starts challenging me. Are you sure you saw it? And I'm looking at him like, what are you asking? You're not, why am I involved in this? We're at the hospital. You play well now. And turns out the reason why I was asking me is because the kneecap slipped back in to the right spot during the car ride. So my daughter was a nervous wreck.
So Michael J. Fox kind of saved the fucking day.
In a weird way. Michael J. Fox here. And Sturchio with a slam dunk, and he's fouled.
4-point play.
Yeah, believe me. And grandmama, yeah. I don't mean to believe me.
No,
it was just frustrating. It was just a weird. Plus, I was nervous too, looking at this fucking knee that looked like a cyclops now. And so we get the MRI. She's got to get surgery Thursday. I'm a nervous wreck. Anytime your kid's going under anesthesia, that's just a no-go zone for me. You're just nervous. I don't know what to tell you. But the doctor seems to think she's going to be okay. She'll be able to dance again. Maybe 2.5 months. She'll be back actually dancing even sooner than that. So we might have dodged a bullet. There was only some minor damage, and he really, I trust this guy, a doctor in Ridgewood, Dr. Palavon, orthopedic surgeon out of Ridgewood. Of course, next Tuesday's podcast could be very different if he screws up her knee. Then, if my daughter's knee gets screwed up, the doctor and Parkinson's Society are going to take a royal and donations are down here. No. But I hope my daughter's going to be okay.
It's the fucking holidays. You're like, nope, not today.
No, day after Christmas, and Jimmy is firing threes. But anyway. I love you, Bunny. I know you're not listening, but my daughter is special to me, obviously. And it just sucks when you'll see Dave. Like, imagine like your daughter getting hurt. You don't know what to do.
I've seen her scrape knees. I've seen Miles bump his head on pretty much every corner of the tables in the house. And when they cry, it's first of all, it's different because obviously you have one daughter. I got 2 kids, and when Stella gets hurt, I'm a mess. I'm a mess.
Me too. It's
but
awful.
when Miles hits his head, I'm like, fucking run some dirt on it. You're fine, dude. You're fine.
I get that.
And Miles looks at me like, dude, I'm what? I'm like, get the fuck up. Let's go.
The word.
Yeah,
my mother always said that
to
me. And when your kids get hurt, and obviously get really hurt, it's a different thing. But when I walked in the room and I looked at the knee, like if I was like, okay, we got a game here.
Yeah.
It was like, it was like I felt like Rutgers playing Wagner in football. Next, a 13-0 lead. Wagner.
I'm sorry, but I'll go back to what you just said like 2 minutes ago when you went to the hospital. Like, you play well here. So laughing at that. So stupid. So stupid.
But it's true, right?
You're
like,
it's your thing.
It's your thing. Like I tell dick jokes on podcasts. Like that's what I do. So what I am going to
fucking slap some fucking Chasing Miracles fucking
ChasingMiracles.com patches here. I'll shut this whole hospital
I got
down.
medical advice from what is that? It's shit your body needs. I don't know what to tell you.
You know what? I'll shut this hospital down. Everybody put a patch on. We'll be out of here by Tuesday. Donna and Tommy are crying at that. But what I am going to do this what's Christmas Eve is Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
By the way, anybody else confused with what day Christmas is now? When
it
falls on a weekend, you don't know when to go to church.
Cowboys playing Christmas Eve, and I'm like, oh man, why? And they're like, it's Sunday, and I'm like,
Sunday.
Oh, all right, well then it's normal. Okay, cool.
You get totally like I think I have to go to church 85 times between now and Tuesday. But what I am going to do, because 3 years ago my daughter was in the hospital around the holidays. And I know I told this online, but I put the Santa suit on and I went down. I tried to get in. It was like going after COVID, but they wouldn't let. And I was like, all the valet guys were like, let him in. It was like, let them play for the Bad News Bears, right? So I almost got through until some sheriff was like, sir, this has been quite a little fun experiment you're doing here, but if you take one step forward, I call the cops. And
aren't you from Beer League?
Yeah, Johnny Tritto. But there's an area right behind the ambulance that looks up to the pediatric wing. So on Sunday, I will put the Santa Claus outfit on and take a ride down to, if my daughter's knee's okay and I'm not needed, I'm just going to take a ride down there. And I wave to the kids. Because is there anything worse having your kids in the hospital during Christmas? That's awful.
I don't know, but Jimmy really needs that like cheap pop rush from the crowd.
Oh yes, and Santa.
They're waving at me. They love me. They fucking love me.
Yeah, and I walk around the whole building and everything and ring the bells. I'll be doing that again.
Sir, get out of here. It's enough. Sir, you've been here for 14 hours.
The one guy really he thought I thought I was going to get in, and I was like, I kept on going like, ho, 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 you got to let Santa in. The guy was like, sir, one step forward, you're going to jail for 3 weeks.
They draw their gun on you.
Like, I thought I was going to imagine, and Santa is shot, and the hospital wants to talk it over here. Imagine Santa Claus.
But you're in the right place. You're in the right place if you get shot. You're right there.
Yeah, you know what? If Santa Claus has to call a timeout with 4 minutes to go, you know there's trouble.
Where's he, Philly?
Yeah. Oh, please. So we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, well, listen. I was able to eat some Chinese food on Sunday because I was not in the mood for chicken cutlets or gabagool or provolone. The Giants, the Giants. A couple of things about the Giants. Okay, the Giants stink. But most of the smart fans out there, we knew the Giants stunk. We were just having fun with this weird thing that happened. But I don't think DeVito was really the problem in the game. A couple of times, the receivers were never open. He had time to throw.
He got assaulted a lot.
Yeah,
he got beat up.
No, he got beat up. But however, if you watch the game, he had actually time to throw. But the Giant wide receiver, when you got Gucci and Sturchio wide left and right, no one's getting open. And also, I also think what happened, this is classic NFL. You know, you're the New Orleans Saints. This guy DeVito became a national story. You're hearing about this guinea from Jersey, and they just got fired up.
Everybody who sacked him did the fucking thing.
Did the
everybody. And I was like, "This is what you did this to yourself." You know, did this to yourself. He brought it on himself.
But I don't mind that they did it because otherwise I wouldn't have watched the Giant game since Halloween. So this brought me back into the fold of watching games. And the Giants are still not eliminated.
Did you see him say? Can we cut the Italian shit? Can we stop with the Italian shit? Like, he's actually frustrated about it. And I'm like, first of all, you know, you're also in the headlines for the wrong reasons this week there, Tommy D. You know what I mean? Like, he's out there with his leprechaun-looking agent trying to go out there and adjust pricing to go sign at a pizza place.
What was that? What are you guys doing?
First of all,
who's going to a pizza? First of all.
Well, no, the best part about this story is that the pizza place put out a post announcing that it's not going to happen as originally scheduled
because they tried to double the price.
But they posted it with a picture of the owners with Eli Manning. So it's almost as if like, oh, you didn't want to do this, but 2-time MVP, Super Bowl winning guy. He was here before. He didn't charge us 20 fucking grand.
That's great.
It's almost like a little bit of a dig at Tommy D's agent or whatever the fuck his name is.
But then again, if I was Tommy DeVito's dad, I'd be like, listen, kid, you only got about 48 hours left in this, so try to get 20
The ride is over. It's coming down the back turn.
You know, I also saw him, he was at Home Depot in the plumbing section checking out some of the things with his dad because eventually Tommy D, although, you know what? I think Tommy DeVito is going to be in the NFL longer than you think. That's my prediction. But he's not going to be.
He's going to be coaching Don Bosco next year.
Could be, yeah, and probably making twice as much money as half the
Giants
do. But the Giants played New Orleans played great. It's first of all, I keep on forgetting. You know this more than I do. Everybody forgets, like, for some reason, you think of like Seattle at home, but like playing in the Superdome, it's never. I don't care if the Saints are 0-10. That's a shit show.
I always think that, no matter what.
They have to have. I'm about to say something stupid. In the last 20 years, I would say New Orleans has to be in the top 10 of home wins. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know their home loss splits, but I know for a fact that you're right. No matter what their record is, no matter who's quarterback, and no matter who's on their team,
right?
No matter who the coach is,
right?
Like, I don't want to go to New Orleans. You know what I mean? It's just like
have the Cowboys won there a lot.
They did. They won a couple years back in New Orleans, but it's not as.
It's never feel good. Yeah, they're good at home. So factor that in. We'll talk about your beloved Cowboys. Look. That's a bad law. I mean, the Giants almost beat the Bills, for Christ's sake. I don't get the Cowboys.
The Bills were desperate. They needed the win. Absolutely needed the win. The Cowboys coming off an emotional win over the Philadelphia Eagles the week before.
Coming back,
yeah. Weather wasn't really as much of a factor as what they said it was. It was like, oh, it's going to be raining. And I'm like, all right, who gives a shit? It's rain. It's just that I don't know, man. I just don't understand how they can't get up for these road games.
I don't know why you just don't throw a slant to CeeDee Lamb on every play.
I mean, listen, nothing was kind of. It was kind of like a shit show from the start.
They got smoked. They got beat bad. But you know what? Listen, you rather have you get beat in December. You got to.
Well, they haven't lost back-to-back games since like the middle of 2021. So they're good at responding to losses. We'll just see.
The Cowboys, unfortunately, the way the Cowboys situation is, they're a popular team. It's how they do in the playoffs. I mean, it's just if they go 17-0 and lose in the second round, it was like they went 8-8.
If I hear one more radio host also call it a week-to-week league,
you know what? It's so true.
They watch the show.
True.
It really is because it's like
I watched the Eagles.
Cowboys. Dak Prescott was gonna waltz into the MVP trophy room, and like you have one game like that, like wow, he's done. He fucking stinks. I'm like,
well,
what you? I always say this, and Parcells is a big of this. Your record is what you say you are. So,
correct. No doubt.
So for the Cowboys to drop this one, sucked, nasty, right? But then they're like, how about them Cowboys? They're 10-4. They're in the playoffs. Shut up. Like it's not a debate.
Listen, the Cowboys
they didn't win 10 games by accident, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and the amazing thing is, had the Giants won against the New Orleans Saints, they would be like a lock for did you see everybody lost? The Giants
the NFC, the bottom feeders of the NFC are no good.
I shouldn't say a lock. I'm kidding. But the Giants would have had a legitimate shot.
Packers got smoked.
Split with the Eagles, beat the Rams, and the Giants could make it. But I watched the Eagle game, and I'm like, you know what? The Eagles.
They lost 3 straight too.
Yeah, so, I don't.
And look, every good team goes through their lows, but there's a reason for that. So when the Niners lost 3 straight, Purdy was hurt for one of them. Debo Samuel was out for all 3. So you make a case like, all right, well, they're down one of their best weapons. Eagles got no fucking excuse. They're playing
and the game yesterday, I don't get some of the play calling, throwing that. Anyway, I think the Eagles are I think they're beatable. And you know what? The Giants haven't won at the vet. I call it the vet. So
it's still the vet to me too. So
at the vet.
Well, it's the link, but everybody knows it as the vet.
Shea, the vet. Okay.
I think that's the last time. That's what convinced me never to go to an Eagles home game for the Cowboys. My dad went to the vet once.
Oh, it was brutal.
He said he saw somebody get kicked down the stairs, and I was
dude, if I were you, someone like you shouldn't go ever.
No, I won't.
You unless you bring your kids.
WrestleMania is in Philadelphia next year. I'll go to that.
Okay, there you go.
But that's it. I'm not going to wear my cow. Hey, you know what?
No.
Depends how froggy I'm feeling that day. We'll
I wouldn't.
Nah, probably
anyway,
not. I don't need the drama.
But I think you heard it here first. I think the Giants are going to split with the Eagles. Don't know why. It's based on nothing. Gut
Do
feel.
it, please. Do it.
I know you're going to. A lot of Cowboy fans. The world is going to be watching the Giant game.
It's Monday night.
All right.
Christmas
We
night.
have a special guest here, Shay. I think it's time to get our boy in, even though I hope he's probably has to rewrite what he was going to say because we talk about it. But
that's what happens.
That's your job. You know what? Listen, this is NFL, not for long. You know what I'm saying there, Steve? Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Roman. Get in there. There you go. Steve, what's going on? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Same to you guys. Well, I guess you covered it all.
No,
you said the Giants were going to come through. And boy, did they come through.
Yeah, they came through all right. They were awful.
My God. I mean, absolutely horrific. And Dave, that deal, the pizzeria with the green elf setting up scams on the side, you ruined everything. Everything that was good and had a good feeling came out.
He's the Grinch.
What?
He's the Grinch. He wore the Grinch.
Yeah, really, really awful. Definitely the Cowboys do not look good. I don't see the Cowboys. I mean, not to pick on Dave. They're a great team. They did win 10 games, but I've watched the Cowboys over the last 5 years. You know, Dak Prescott cannot win the big game. I don't see him winning the big game. He hasn't been able to win the big game. I mean,
on paper, you could say that because Cowboys have won and they make the playoffs, so they play in big games. And they haven't won, but I'm not necessarily sure every one of those losses was on Dak Prescott. So you can
listen.
It's a counter argument.
It's all about a team. It's about the team effort. The Cowboys have not been able to do it. I thought Dak Prescott was going to be a guy that would have had a couple Super Bowls by now. I mean, he just.
But nobody wins a couple Super Bowls. Like that's like
I was going to say based on what?
The Mannings are the only people, and the Giants stunk both years they won the Super Bowl.
And guess what? So. Since Eli won in 2011, you haven't sniffed anything.
No,
You're on a drought, just like not as long as the Cowboys, but
listen, guys, we're all Yankee fans, right?
The Giants have been more irrelevant than the Dallas Cowboys in the last decade.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Decade plus.
I wish
we're not talking about the Giants.
I'm just saying you both there. Right. I get to respond.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would like to argue with Dave, but Dallas is much more relevant than the Giants. Certainly, probably over the last 10 to 12 years. It's an easy
14 years.
14 years. But it's like the Yankees, right? The Yankees. What have the Yankees done? We're all Yankee fan here, all of us, right? I believe.
Yes.
What have the Yankees done? The Yankees?
I know, but they make the playoffs every year, and that's
last year.
No, they haven't.
Up until this year, but that's because Stanton got hurt. So when you lose your best player, see, Steve, you don't know that as a Yankee fan, Giancarlo Stanton. Now, he is. I got
Jimmy has his crush on Giancarlo Stanton.
I would totally date Giancarlo Stanton. There's no question.
Really
Stanton is right now he's in like some native island working out. He is going to come back. He's
going to come back looking like a Greek god, and then he's going to tear his oblique.
No, I think he's going to come back. He's going to come back looking like he runs marathons, and he's going to be skinny and lean, and he's going to come back hit bombs all year long.
Wound too tight, as my dad would say.
He's not.
Pliable. I'm the only Giancarlo Stanton fan in the world. That's how I look.
He has the ability, and we've seen him carry teams, but unfortunately, his consistency, his body breaking down regularly. It's tough to root for him.
Well, you can relate to that body breaking down, right?
Well, yeah. Well, when we're in the gym together, I mean, it becomes a big thing. I don't want you to bring that up, but yeah. So
anyway, you got the blinking lights in the background tree. Look at that little Christmas spirit here.
Wow.
Yeah, why not?
All fans 18 and over, come on up.
Elf on the shelf. Let's go. Come on.
I have not dove into that world yet. And
wait until you guys.
Oh, dude, it's great.
You guys
great in that they really think. Steve? Did you do that with your kids? The Elf on the Shelf?
Yeah.
They really think, and if you touch it, supposedly.
You can't. My kids were like so.
No one's allowed to touch it. So when you put it on the different shelf,
It was the biggest thing for my kids for half a decade.
Oh,
7
totally
years.
works. Dave,
They were like, oh my God. Like,
Have
dude,
to-
if you don't have it, you could mess with your kids so bad.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
Dave, you'll love it. The only thing
Yeah,
is, you know what's going to happen though? 1:30 in the morning, your wife's going to be, Dave, we didn't move the elf.
You asshole.
And you're like, because the kids wake up like, where is it? And you put it like,
See, I've been.
But what's good about that is you have to be on your game and be like, you know why she didn't move? Think about what you did yesterday.
I know, it's
Right in
so
this
great.
very area.
It's
Right in this area. When you told your, now they're looking at you wider. I go, it's not me reporting into Santa. It's her.
Right.
So
And
that's
also-
on you. That's why she didn't.
I heard you can't even get this fucking thing anywhere.
Yes,
They're
you
like
can.
sold out everywhere.
But here's the best thing is,
like Turbo Man.
Our elf fell off the shelf. A fat fuck shelf. I had a fat fuck elf, right?
You didn't get it.
My daughter was like, "Oh my god!" So I don't even remember. I could. By the way, you have
had
to
to come up with something.
instantly come up with a whole new Christmas movie on Lifetime in 3 seconds. Like, oh no, let me tell you why. The shelf was against the manufacturer of the. I don't know what I said that my daughter got.
Jimmy's definitely had it. Jimmy probably has a couple nights where he's 2 scotches, 3 scotches in, and all of a sudden the elf winds up in bed with Jimmy. She's like, where's the elf? Like,
well,
the elf
things
is
got
getting
tight.
involved here.
And the elf wants to talk it over. It's a great thing that Dave, you got to do it next year.
I mean,
totally
obviously,
get one.
I think my kids, Stella.
You know what I'm afraid though?
You
You got to watch though. Dave has a boy, and Miles just may not buy into that. He could be the rogue linebacker.
You could sell that.
He destroys everything lately. Like Stella will be building blocks, and he'll just walk up to it like Godzilla and just fucking kick it and eat
bro.
it.
You got to scare him. You got to set him up. Like
I'm not scaring my kid.
No, come
No,
on,
you got to do it. It's
in
great.
a good way.
No, Dave, Dave's going to do it like a wrestling announcer.
Big giant guy lifting. Dude, you tell Miles, you go, Miles, listen, bro, this is out of my control. This is like a Christmas.
Yeah, Dave, they buy in. It's so bad.
How important
it's a borderline cruelty, but it's great.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
it's not cruel.
I've been diving into the wonderful world of like edibles lately, and like that helps me go to sleep. But I can only imagine like me also not remembering where the fuck I put the stupid thing. You know,
listen.
It's on the windowsill upstairs.
My wife is reliable, thank God, or I wouldn't know where it is either. Now, did you guys see that they made Snoop on a stoop?
Dude, I've
Snoop Dogg.
I've seen a lot of these comparisons, and like you've heard of Elf on a Shelf. Well, how about this? And I'm like, man, some of this shit is hilarious.
I put it outside.
I'm either gonna do DeVito on a shelf or Giancarlo on a shelf, and he's just always hurt. So that's why when he's
standing on a mantle,
standing on a mantle, and you go in, where is he? He got hurt. He got hurt. He's got
Hassie on a chassis. Babe Hassie. Ron Hassie on a chassis.
There it is.
There you go.
Did you know who
Steve with a short tube? Money.
Did you know? Do you remember Ron Hassie, Steve?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Important.
Did you call him the Babe too?
I don't remember him being called the
Babe.
I don't remember that.
Steven Diddy has to text me.
Dave, I don't remember that, but I do remember Ron Hassie. Right. And he was actually had a couple decent years. Jimmy's like, all right, Steve, shut up. All right, go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, listen, which brings us to, of course, Dave's had a problem with his cornhole for a while, and I know, Steve, your cornhole is a mess.
It was tight over the weekend.
It's tight over the weekend. You got to go. Whenever the Cowboys lose, Dave,
I need it leveled.
Wait a minute. Let me ask Dave this. So the Cowboys lose. I know the first thing you do, Dave, is go to cornholelevel.com. Dave, do you agree with that? Come back to the show for a second.
Sorry, I got a text from business.
Okay. So when the Cowboys lose, first thing you do is go to cornholelevel.com.
Yeah, I got to make sure. Yeah, I mean, if
your cornhole's a mess.
If anything's going to straighten me out, it's cornholelevel.com.
Earlier in the season with the Giants, I was on daily phone calls with cornholelevel.com because you have to get these to straighten out your cornhole. That's right. Go to cornholelevel.com. 20% off the entire order. These things are awesome. Steve, in case you don't know, I'll try to get you some samples. You hook this thing right on your cornhole. It levels the board. You can't be on a shitty cornhole board. It's sponsored by my buddy Mike Caprio, who owns cornholelevel.com. Check it out. You can't have a crooked cornhole. This time of the year, it's so sad with some cold outdoor play with shitty cornhole boards. Cornholelevel.com. And they are the sponsor of the most important sports thing in America right now, the Stinks List. And there are a lot of them this week. But we'll start off. I'm going to give the Miami Dolphins a very good. Buffalo Bills, a good. Jets and Patriots stink. Baltimore Ravens, you know what? Ravens, very good. Cleveland Browns, I'm giving the Browns a good. Bengals, an average. Steelers, I'm sorry, you stink. And the AFC South has come a long way. Jaguars, average. Colts, average. Texans, average getting involved. That's the first time they've been average in a very long time. Tennessee Titans, I'm sorry, you still stink. Kansas City Chiefs, sorry, I'm not giving it to you. You're just good at this point. Don't know why, but I know I'm right. Denver Broncos stink. The Vegas Raiders, I was going to give them a stink, but when you put 63 points on the board, that's on the Jimmy Palumbo world, you have to get an average, even though you really stink, but you're average, but you put 63 up. Checking in is Robin Achani here, who has been the Giancarlo Stanton of my Patreon is Robin Achani, who has been dropped. I should be at Darryl Strawberry 39, but I'm at 38 because Robin Achani just dropped off the Patreon.
I can't believe you're calling people out in their credit card woes.
Absolutely. If listen, that's the rule. If you join Patreon, we go nuts. But if you drop out of it, it's like, you know what? She went to the portal. She went to Joe Rogan's show. She got a better offer. She left. Let's see. And of course, the Chargers, they suck. Stink. I said suck. I'm gonna do the sucks list next year. All right. She slants Robin's OMFG. Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to keep you at good. Philadelphia Eagles, good. New York Giants stink. Commanders stink. Detroit Lions, very good. Vikings, average. Packers and Bears, you both stink. And, of course, my favorite division I should sponsor. The Jimmy Palumbo Show should be sponsored by the NFC South. Buccaneers, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, stink.
And one of those teams are going to make the playoffs.
One of those teams is going to make the playoffs, and if the Giants had beat
play the
Saints
Cowboys,
and the Cowboys want to call a timeout, I was like, no doubt. San Francisco 49ers, I have them as the best team in the league, and Dave, you've been saying that all year. I was hesitant because I didn't think the Giants played them that bad, but they're 11-3, and there's the guy Brock Purdy. I mean, my God. Rams stink. Seahawks, I'm going to give you the average by beating the Eagles. And, of course, the team that beat the Cowboys, Arizona Cardinals, really stink. That's a bad loss by them. So, wait a minute now. So, they're in the NFC. First of all, is it annoying? When the Cardinals used to be in the AFC, and was that
No, they used to be in the NFC. No. The Cardinals were in the NFC East. They were with us.
But who's the team that used to be? I always get confused.
Seahawks.
Oh, that's right.
Seahawks.
By the way, that's total bullshit. Seahawks should be in the AFC. If I took over as commissioner, first thing I would do. Jimmy Palumbo, new thing. It's our Seattle.
The most important thing in the world. Like, what's your first order of business? Seattle. Back to where you belong.
All right. So, cornholelevel.com stinks list. 16 teams in the NFL stink. 8 are average. 5 are good. And there's 4 very goods. That'll do it here from the Omni.
Darryl said Robin went to my Patreon instead.
That's so great. That's right. Robin's a huge sponsor. She's probably going to bust my ball. I have to call her later. She'll give me shit. Okay, now the greatest sponsor in all of American sports is Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326.
Eyes.
Oh, Dave with the breathiness of it. Look at that. He's like a young James Earl Jones. Craig and Janine Michaud, they own this place. Family-owned opticians. Go check them out. They sent me these crazy glasses with the progressives looking up and down. I'm still trying to do it. I'm not doing it on the show right now because I'm afraid I'll faint. And everybody says you got to stick with it. She sent me 3 texts. Stick with it.
You don't feel like a jerk off, but you do pass out from time to time.
Now listen. When you go there, Steve, when you go to Absolute Eyewear, you don't feel like a jerk off when you're leaving. They take care of you.
Great
and
people.
They also have $100 off a complete pair.
Fantastic.
And when you say JP Sports or Dave or mention Steve Rowe, anything to do with my show, if you walk in, actually, you know what? I love doing this. My favorite part of doing the sponsors is I create my own specials there. I think if you walk in there and say, Alex, want to talk it over, I think you should be handed the glasses for free. And look at Robin and Johnny going back on Patreon. You know what? That's something we're going to have to discuss next week, Robin, because you were, listen, that's $36 a year. God bless America. She's going to hate me, but she loves me anyway. Anyway, $100 a complete pair if you mention the show. They've been in the business like 18, 19 years. Open 5 days a week. Closed on Wednesdays. Why, Steve?
Because They're Mormons.
And why
They
are
work with Chick-fil-A.
And why are they closed? What? Robin and Johnny just wrote, "I'm Venmoing you the $36." And Robin, when you try to rain threes late in the game, down by 17, they cut it to 8.
This is called reeking of desperation in the fourth.
And Robin is too late with a 36-point effort in the fourth quarter. They still lose by 17 here. But why are they closed on Sunday, Steve?
Same.
The Mormons.
Same.
Okay.
They're Mormons. All right.
And Steve, ladies and gentlemen, if you Google Steve not doing his research, you're going to go right to this clip. They're closed on Wednesdays because of softball with Craig, the owner, and they're closed on Sundays because the football Giants are on the air and they're losing to everyone. So go to Absolute Eyewear, Chop Sports, and Jimmy Palumbo Show's favorite sponsor of all time. We got a couple of we have to cover. I know the show. Well, no, we still got time. We really have to discuss now, Dave. I know you're not a college basketball fan, other than the tournament and all that shit. By the way, how lame are these college football bowl pools? Have you seen? You got to fill out like Lafayette playing Fordham. Like
no,
nobody,
I don't
no,
know.
not only do you not know the name of the bowl, you don't know the teams. You don't know. It's like. To me, the football poll should be the big games at the end. Like there's so many, and Rutgers is in one of them next Thursday, I believe.
Are you going?
I think so. Dave Sturchio with the huge yawn here. But you know what? A lot of my fans yawn. I hope you're not driving.
Oh, I'm sorry, long day.
Long day. Well,
it's only 1 in the afternoon.
I'm going to get to Dave in a second, but we have to mention on this show. Rutgers did something in basketball that. They have the number 3 recruiting class, okay? And the teams that are ahead of them, now, as a Rutgers fan, I don't know if they're going to win with these new recruits. Who knows, right? Shit happens. But it goes like this. And this is like on every poll. It goes Duke, Kentucky, Rutgers. That is unheard of. We got Dylan Harper, the number 1 player, and a number 2 player, and we got Ace Bailey, the number 3 player, and they've all been at one point ranked number 1. We got the top 2 of the top 3 players in the fucking country to come. And there's people that say these kids are so good, like we're going to do damage in the tournament. I say, yes, they're going to be good. But as soon as you put that red scarlet in, if you average 30 points a game and you put the Rutgers uniform on, you are now averaging 11 points a game, 3 for 39 from 3. No, but listen, I know it's not the games itself, but the fact that Rutgers got 2 of the top 3 players, dude, that's unheard of.
How?
I have no idea.
What's the appeal besides the money?
NIL money. Well, his brother played.
You're telling me that Rutgers has more NIL money than like North Carolina or Duke?
I think you know what? I think his son went. The brother went, Harper, and the dad obviously NBA player. They don't need the money, and so he goes to Bosco. And Bosco is not a huge basketball. They're not like a big empire in basketball. I think they just like Peichel. They like what he did for his other son, got him into the NBA. He's still, he just got cut. He got hurt, but he's in G League for 2 years. And supposedly this kid, his brother's even better. I don't know. You know what? What if Miles was choosing between Duke, Kentucky, and Rutgers?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Are you rah-rah? You're out.
That's what I say. But it's really incredible. I didn't really give it a mention. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I'm such a negative bastard. 2 games in next year, I'm like, he stinks, And then people say, oh, he's one and done. Like, we never get players that are one and done. We get players that they're one and they suck and done, and then they leave the program. I had to give that a shout out. The other thing is, I was sitting around. Now, with my daughter being banged up, I live on the 3rd floor. She can't come up the stairs. So I decorated. I got all these decorations, all cool stuff for my daughter, and she can't even see them, which annoys the shit out of me.
Pick her up.
I know she's banged. I don't want to bang her knee around, So my decorations will be up, I think, till February until she's. But there was something nice the other night. I was having a glass of wine. I was watching some shitty show, and I had the music on. I had the Nat King Cole, the Bing Crosby going. The lights were on. I was like, you know what? All of a sudden, I started. You get like upset. You start thinking about people that are. I start thinking about my dad, my grandpa. I was like, I got to shut this off and put like, some kind of the B-52s on before I hang myself here and shit. It's like, I don't want to be like, oh, Jimmy hung himself, but his decorations were gorgeous. Something about Christmas.
And if you want to hang yourself, go talk to Lisa Ruane, who is the whatever the
well, I can't.
in case,
Yeah, is that gonna be the ad for her business?
That's it. In case you want to hang yourself, go talk to Lisa.
But we will talk about briefly here the unbelievably movie World Left Behind. I wish that I had left behind my remote. This movie, I wish I was by the way, any asshole out there, any movie that I bash, I would totally wish I was in. Cast in it, of course.
You would love to just sit next to Ethan Hawke.
Oh, you kidding me?
Julia Roberts.
You know what? Palumbo guarding Roberts very well, and she might be single too. I'll drop a quick running one-hander to tie the game. Anyway, I don't get this movie. I think this movie stinks. It's wordy. It's boring. You know what? I was totally rooting for the pandemic. I was like, you know what? I'm rooting, just like in that movie about the volcano. I was rooting for the volcano. This one, I was rooting. I was like,
no, you were rooting for the plane in that one.
Yeah, I was rooting for the plane.
It's air disasters.
Yeah, it's air disasters. I'm rooting for the plane. Kyle has me betting whether it's a pilot error or engine failure. I'm like, there's all kinds of bets going on with air disasters. But this movie, I was like, oh, I hope this thing just wipes this whole family out. I was like, nobody's likable.
I couldn't get past the
Deer?
trailer.
How long are you going to watch the deer stand outside the shed? I was waiting for them to start talking.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
What was that? How long? That ate up 38 minutes of the movie.
I was like,
what? Bambi? What's
go to venison.com here and get your favorite deer specialty. I just don't get. It was
so bad.
Julia Roberts was a total prick in it, and she was nasty and not nice, and she wanted to leave the world. So that was and also, like, I know you're in a cabin, the whole world's coming apart. I get that, okay, but like, I'm still trying to go get my mother and sister. Like, I'm not going to be like, you know what? I'm going to stay here in this cabin because my whole family's being wiped out. Like, who does that? Dave, would you, if your mother and your family and your brother were an hour away by car, okay, and the world was coming in, you'd be like, hey, honey, you know what? We got to at least make a run.
I'm in the car. I'm in the car.
But they even set it up how you couldn't take a car. But I was like, I don't think there was enough effort. Because why you want to just sit in the cabin with your family? Food's going to run out. You're going to be dead anyway.
Apparently, this movie's getting like split down the middle reviews. Like it's one of the greatest things that people have ever seen. And then like the opposite side, like you guys are saying that this is just an I couldn't make it past the trailer. I was like, there's a boat coming towards the shore. And I'm like,
you know what?
You
know what? Tell you what, you know what, Dave? Watch it for a half hour and just to see if it catches you. And plus, I'm not going to tell you the ending. I hated the ending. I was like, I wanted good, clean nuclear death. The game over. Instead, I got an onside kick. Nobody knew the ball was bouncing in the air. Referee, it was like,
Then they're playing the Friends theme out of nowhere. Hearing that guy, they're putting VHS tapes.
You know what it was like? It was like watching a game after further review, and all of a sudden the credits roll. Like, what? What happened?
So like some Sopranos type shit,
dude,
abrupt.
I can't even explain it. Listen, they had it in television reporting on the screen what was going on. 100 feet into the ground.
You know what? It's like
it was like
I don't know.
It was bad. And they got these big name actors. What did they make? We could do something better.
No, really? We probably couldn't.
Yes, we could, Jimmy. I think we could. All right, so probably.
Listen, you know what? I tell you right now, Beer League's
going to give it a run.
Beer League's getting 6.5 points against World Left Behind. That's all I'm saying.
That was so bad.
Where's Kyle? I need Kyle.
We were all left behind. Anyone that watched that was left behind.
I got to get Kyle to watch my show and comment because anytime I want a quick point.
Kyle actually just bought a house.
When all the money he take from all the gamblers,
leftover house. He bought the
gamblers.
He bought the shed. He bought the shed from a world left behind.
Oh my God!
It was on the deer with the deer. Yes.
It was. The whole movie.
You paying 80% on that mortgage.
I end up watching these documentaries. I'm watching, but you know what? No matter what happens, At 1:00 in the morning, I'm dozing off. Air Disasters is on my TV. I don't know. I think just goes to it.
Something I watched over the weekend. The Family Switch Up or the Family. It's with
Mark Wahlberg.
No, that one I want to see. I'm a Wahlberg guy. I don't care how bad it is. I'm a Wahlberg guy.
I'm a Wahlberg guy too, but you're not gonna be happy.
No, really? Oh man, it's on Apple TV, so like I pay the fucking $6. Might as well watch it.
It's worth it. The $6 you have to watch.
No, it was shit. The guy from The Hangover, the doctor, like not the doctor, the dentist. He's with who's the wife? Natalie Portman? No, I don't know. It's a cute film. I didn't know it was gonna be Christmas themed. They switch bodies. It's almost like 13 going on 30.
Yeah,
they switch bodies with their parents. So now the parents are the kids and the kids are the parents. It's actually really funny. And it's like for adults, you know, and it's not like a kid.
You know, Dave, those of you scoring at home on Netflix, do you know that the great Jimmy Palumbo is in a holiday movie on Netflix?
Shut up. Which one? I got to watch.
Holiday Rush.
Oh, God.
Holiday Rush. Check it out.
A 1-star.
I play a pool manager. I come in with a quick 3 and I'm out of the game. A 1 minute, 3 points, no rebounds, no assists.
Perfect.
Classic Jimmy Palumbo moment. But I'm in my, it's like I'm in my first holiday movie. Getting it. I'm in 2 holiday movies. I'm also in. Your kids would like The Microchip That Stole Halloween, another huge seller here at Netflix.
I thought that never came out. That actually
that's on Netflix. Yeah.
All right.
Well, Google that.
How do you think that Jimmy's living nowadays? This is why.
And hopefully soon enough, it'll be live from Colonial Penn. Jimmy Palumbo getting involved.
The Colonial Penn Studio.
I need. You know what?
Did you hear anything back from those?
No, I booked a commercial for Colonial Penn, and the funny thing is,
good.
In my life right now, Colonial Penn's lining up for a 61-yarder to win it. I need this kicker. I need this Colonial Penn kicker to drill this through the. I don't care if it bounces off the ref's face. I just want to see good. If he misses this kick, I'm going to be. I'm definitely going to need a TV timeout. There's no question about it. I'm going to.
And Jimmy is on his 3rd bottle of wine here on Christmas night. It's going to be 3 a.m. You're going to be half in the bag, and your one eye's going to be open, and you're like, "Holy shit!" And it's going to be your commercial.
That's it.
In the middle of your Friends episode or some shit.
I don't care when it airs, how it airs. If it's on Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC, I don't care if it airs on Chop Sports Media Channel. I don't care where it is.
You get me a copy.
On the Spanish channel, maybe.
Right now,
Jimmy Palumbo, Colonial Penn.
Right now, I look like Y.A. Tittle in the end zone, bleeding from the head. Anybody gets that joke? I'll send you $1. You get that? There's a famous photo of him in the end zone bleeding.
Yeah, right from the floor.
How many YA? I'm doing YA Tittle material. The fact that you get that is even.
This
funnier.
is where. Well, that photo's iconic. That photo's
God,
iconic.
Bro.
So it's like YA Tittle presents the Jimmy Palumbo Show here. All right. Shit. Well, we've gone long again. Well, listen, everybody. On a serious note, first of all, Natalie, happy surgery on Thursday. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas. Drive
safe. Be safe. Give your family a hug. Really try to enjoy. I know we deal with ups and downs, especially of showbiz. Dave, me and you go through it every week. Try to really sit back for a split second in between shitty football games and really. Oh, you know what though? We got to give at least 5 minutes here. I don't care. We're going long. Disney. We didn't get a chance to. You should have brought it up earlier. I would have. I don't care if the show goes long.
I'm trying to forget
it. Well, no. First of all, I'll set it up. Dave went to Disney World with his 2 kids. They're at the perfect age, especially his daughter. And the pictures that you took, man, they were totally buying into every. I mean, it was like
it's what you don't see.
But no, of course. Listen, but tell me about the car ride down.
The car ride down was 16 hours.
I heard there was someone who gave you lots of trouble on the way down. And what was his name?
It was Dave. It was me. I listen, I'm not a good sit in one place kind of guy. I can't sit and sleep in the car. It's hard for me. The kids slept for 13 of the 16 hours. They were saints. And when they woke up, it was a couple like, "Hey, Dad, my butt hurts," or like I'm kind of all right. Let's get out and run around for a minute. Pump your own gas type deal, like whatever. I couldn't get comfy. Great car, like don't get me wrong. Like, we have a nice truck for the ride, but I wasn't a fan because once you get to it was like 2 a.m. or no, I'm sorry, it was like midnight. No,
You mean
seven,
once? You mean once you get to Delaware, you start to get uncomfortable?
yeah. No, listen. I would, but here's me being schmuck. Me, I was like, look at that. Already through New Jersey. How about that? And right, and then you're like, Delaware, easy,
Delaware.
right? Maryland, fucking cruising, screeching a halt at Washington D.C. It's like, what? And then you're in Virginia for like 4 days.
Yeah,
like,
Virginia's bigger than Texas. Nobody knows that when you're going to Disney World.
no, that part of it sucked. And then like once you get to the Carolinas, you're starting to feel like, all right, this is gonna work. But then I thought of Janine when we hit Florida, and it was like, Jacksonville, and it's just like, we're here basically, right? And it's like, no, you got about 3.5 more hours south to keep going. And I'm just like, oh my god. But the ride down was bad. The ride back was brutal.
Ride home.
We're
brutal.
supposed to split the drive. Let me tell you something, Jimmy.
You went. How many carries did you have? 48 carries for 51 yards.
Dave was worked like 2016 Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, the ball didn't leave my hands. It was just like
great.
She drove for a little bit, but I was like, dude, don't worry about it. I got it. My head was getting heavy.
Oh, that's the worst.
But then like certain songs would come on the radio, and I would just be like, I fucking love this song. And I'm the only one. I'm looking around. People are catching flies. I'm just sleep. I'm by myself. The whole thing. It was brutal. The rides. I won't do the rides again.
No,
I won't do that again. I might do it one more time when the kids are tolerable and they can feel. Because the way home was rough for them. Because it's
what did your daughter like the best? Oh, and who's her favorite?
Let me tell you something.
Creature.
My daughter is a thrill seeker. Okay. She wasn't tall enough to ride basically anything the last time we went. She's now tall enough to get on the coasters, like these roller coasters.
Right.
She fucking loved it. And every time I sat next to her for any of these roller coaster rides, I would always wonder, like, here comes a big ass drop. Like, this is going to be brutal. And I look to my left and look at her. She lit up like the 4th of July. She loved every second of it. There's a Slinky Dog ride that she fucking loved. She went on everything twice because we had like ride share thing where it was like,
how bad were the lines?
Well, that's where all the investing comes in. That's where I now own a little fraction of Disney World now, because they got these Genie Pass things that you have to buy that you have to like schedule your ride time and shit. Every time you do that, it's like $70 fucking. Like it is.
What a joke.
And don't get me wrong. There was some rides that I'm like, oh, this is great that I just walked right on. But then there are other rides where I'm like, we paid for that service. I get on the ride. There was like an Avatar, not the Avatar ride where you're like, it's a cool thrill ride. It was like Small World on acid. It was like a slow boat ride with like colors and I said, the wait time out there said 80 minutes. If I waited 80 minutes for this, I would kill everybody in the park. That is totally brutal. Brutal.
Now, is she a Snow White, Cinderella?
She's everybody. She got real.
Did you go to the Bibbidi Bop Boot?
We went to everything, man. She's
What did Miles do when you were doing that? He must have.
He's chilling. He loved the merry-go-round a bunch of times. You know, he liked that.
Did you go on the Dumbo ride? Did you go on that one?
He loved the Dumbo ride. He was a big fan of that. At first, all the characters that he saw scared the piss out of him. But then eventually, bro, when I tell you my favorite moment of the entire time, now, remember, keep in mind my son is 2. He's been saying, see Mickey for like a year now. And then finally, when he met Mickey, he walked right up to Mickey, grabbed him. Jimmy wouldn't let go. He had a firm kung fu grip on Mickey's jacket. And I was like, sorry, Mick. I'm trying to talk to Mickey like, hey, sorry, Mick. And Mickey's giving me the, don't worry about it. Like, I love this shit. I'm like, dude, this is great. This is the best moment of the whole trip.
That's
Seeing
great.
him not get up. But there, I will say this. I will stand by this for forever going forward. If you have to, and I'm not talking about the people that like Natalie, just for instance, let's say you have a Disney trip booked, she gets hurt, then she needs accommodations. Get her a scooter, get her one of those things.
Right.
If you are not hurt and you are fat and lazy, your time at Disney is over. Do not get on these fucking scooters and tell us to move out of the way when there's a billion people there. And when I tell you something, I was online to meet Ariel, right? I have Miles in the stroller. My phone is down on the thing. I'm watching the Chiefs and the Packers, right? Because the line is long. I'm chilling. We're good. The person behind me was on a scooter, and the line started to progress in front of me, and I didn't notice it because I'm looking down at my phone.
Oh, he didn't try to jump you, did he?
No. Even worse. God forbid I don't move at the same time as the rest of the line. I had somebody go, move.
Oh God,
Jimmy, Jimmy.
And-
I turned around. I said, "You're about to make the happiest place on earth the most unhappy place you've ever been." I was like, "Don't you ever do that again? Like in front of my kids? Like, are you out of your mind?" And then like we were there for the fireworks of certain things, and then like Steph wants to like go to like she's like, "Okay, cool. Now we can go ride on these rides," and I'm like. The wave of people is moving at us. There's no like, how do we get there? And there's the scooter people that are literally just fucking running people over. If you need to get on a scooter for Disney World, your Disney World time is up. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I know.
holding those turkey chicken bones, those fat fuckers.
They're just
No, there's also it's
ignorant human beings on scooters.
Right, and they're not. You can kill. I'm sure kids have been run over by those things. No doubt about it.
Without a doubt, I got almost shoved over by somebody on a scooter.
By the way, just to let you know, Ariel is 11-3. I'm just letting you know that.
Ariel,
Snow White's like 6 and 8.
Let's just say that when I met Ariel, I looked at Prince Eric like, why don't you step aside, bro?
Hey, step aside,
why don't you take a step aside? But no, it was great.
When you go to Disney World, Ariel is in the playoffs, and in the hunt is Snow White, Cinderella.
I tell you what, man.
In the hunt here.
There was like, and then I saw Jasmine. I was like, oh my God, you're right. But then, like you said, there are the people that I'm like, oh, that's Cinderella from 1973, and she's still hanging on by a thread. Look at her go. But yeah, it was. Listen, man. For what it's worth,
isn't it amazing how they don't break character?
They don't.
Like you can't really go up to them saying.
And the worst part is, bro, is the guides that are with them. Like the people that are with like Pluto, like there's a line for Pluto, right? And then like right before we're supposed to get a picture of Pluto, she's like, "Sorry, kids, Pluto needs a drink of water." It's like, and then they leave for like 5 minutes, like, "We'll be right back." And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, how do I explain
you think there
this?
should be like a backup Pluto ready to go?
Ready to go. Just like a tag game, like a tag team match. Like, all right, Pluto 2, go get him. But like, no, Pluto disappears for 10 minutes, and you're sitting around. Like, all right, where the fuck? How long is this water break for Pluto? You know,
Pluto's got the shits here from the.
Yeah, and not for, just there's a lot of like impatient and mean people.
I agree.
Specifically the workers there.
Now let me ask you this: I thought, let's see if you agree with me on this. There's all kinds of cool parts of Disney. I get it. I still think for your young kids, I still think the Magic Kingdom is the best.
The Magic Kingdom is the
Epcot's
biggest.
Different, but it's got all the classic traditional shit that you want to. It's a small world.
It's the one that I got. It's the one you can't get to everything in one shot. We went to Magic Kingdom twice in 7 days. So it's like, and by the way, I don't track my miles. I don't have one of these watches, but my phone does. My phone did.
Dave lost 8 pounds here.
Let me tell you something. I looked at my phone. It calculated all the time my phone was in my pocket, which is pretty much the entire time of every walk that we've ever did.
Right.
Dave walked 37 miles in 5 days.
Wow.
So, I love it.
And let me tell you something. Shin splints are real. They suck, and they flared up on me. Now, I needed chasing miracles in the worst way.
Let me ask you this. What about the people that go to Disney World in August? You can't do it.
No, I'll never. And that's another thing. I kind of came to a conclusion.
You would be dead. You're not in shape enough.
Well, not even that. Not even that. I'd probably lose some weight, but like not even that. I'm officially ruling out any Disney trips that aren't in late November, early December going forward. That's the perfect weather. It was 75 to 80.
During Easter, the weather's not bad, but it's too crowded.
I got like 15 minutes to myself, which was I used for the hot tub at the place because I was like, I need my feet to work tomorrow. Like I need a fucking hot tub.
How many beers did you have in Epcot? See, you can't drink in all the other places, but Epcot, I drank in Germany, France,
I drank in
Spain.
Germany and England, and then that was it. That was all I could do. And then Stella put hand sanitizer in her eye. It was like, dude, I tell you, man, I never heard her scream so loud in my life. I thought somebody was taking her. I was like, is everything all right? And it was just brutal. But
how about those shops with all that crap they have right at eye level for the kids?
Dude,
did you get beat in the shops? I spent about $500.
I'm going to tell you right now, this straight full transparency. The trip itself with the passes to the parks and It's like $3,700.
Wow.
Or that was just to go.
Right. Yeah.
I did some calculations on a Friday when I was sitting around, like just kind of waiting for something. And I was like, how much money have we spent this week? Jimmy, $2,500.
So the trip cost you like 52.
Like almost, yeah.
Right.
Or close to 6, I feel like. It was like, it was so
tough.
expensive. And the one thing I have not mastered as a dad is no.
I know.
Right.
Your daughter, she's already tweeting out, "My dad's a jerk off."
Yeah, she has everything under the sun.
She bought things for at the school.
And then not for nothing, you expect to, like, Steph's like, well, I think the kids know that Disney was their Christmas gift. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
No,
like you expect to wake up on Christmas morning and say like, hey, there's nothing there because we went to Disney World.
My mom does that. My mom would be big on that one, boy.
No, my mom.
They can't associate that.
My mother would say that, and like Willis Reed coming out of the tunnel on Christmas Day.
Nah, my mother's staying
and Jimmy's
back.
mother wants to talk it over here. She would always, you can't, you got to have shit under the tree.
Yeah, it's just like, so another G, right? And then I got all the nieces and nephews, another G.
Well,
like,
you know what happened to me? We were there and we were in a gift shop, and all of a sudden I was like, Mom, can I get this for Lucy? I'm like, who? Like,
and then
there's no buying of gifts for friends back home.
Right.
Like,
and then the food, it's like there's no meal plans anymore. They're coming back next year apparently. But like,
they got rid of the meal plans.
They got rid of the meal plans since the COVID.
By the way, the food sucks.
The food is terrible. I've never had such bad pizza in my life. Trust me when I tell you.
$4 for chicken fingers.
Chicken cordon bleu day here.
Bro, so ready for this? So we've been going to all these like all you can eat things, the character breakfasts. So I'm like, even those, I'm like, they're charging $40 for Stella, and I'm like. Yeah. She ain't eating $40 worth of food. That means I gotta eat like $90 worth of food to get my money's worth. I'm like, no. So that sucked. But the worst part about all this, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. But the worst part about the spending of the money is that we thought for one night we were like, you know what? We've been going out every night, eating all these nice sit down meals. Why don't we just go to the market that's at our hotel? We'll spend less. Guess what? You don't spend any less.
No, I know.
It's $100 every time you stop your path. I spent $100.
Yeah,
right. And by the way, on the outskirts of Disney World, Orlando, there, talk about an area that needs a timeout.
Eating at the gas station.
Orlando sucks.
I took him to the Waffle House the first day. I was like, we're all going to eat for
Waffle House.
This is going to be great.
It's Waffle when you're eating at Circle K, you have a problem.
Waffle House. Listen,
you're running low. Refill the soda again.
Waffle House.
I got one of those too. I got duped into that shit. They're like,
the refill.
They're like, how about this cup? You can refill it anywhere. I was like, anywhere where? They're like, on this resort. I'm like, so I got to come all the way back to the market to get a 20-ounce Pepsi. I'm
all
good.
I know is the Waffle House hosts a playoff game every year. That place is 100%. Great. All right. Well, I just want to hear about Dave's Disney trip, and of course, go to Pine Tar Bar and Grill. My buddy Tommy's Bar down in Forked River, 609-489-4286. We're planning on a big playoff weekend down there. Go check it out. Also, Lisa Ruane, therapist. If you're in a jam, you're not feeling right, give her a call, 201-725-1251. She's the best. She'll help you out, get you through it. This is a long show, but I don't care. That's how it goes. Merry Christmas to you guys, and be safe. And I'll see you the day after Christmas. We will be again live, show 145. And that's it. I think we covered everything. God bless. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
You too, man.
Everybody out there, Merry Christmas.
Take care.
How do I get out of this thing now?
My favorite part. My favorite part of every show is you struggling to fucking end it. All right, let me edit this. I got another